Dear friends and students, I Ramanuj Pandey. Today I am going to deliver my lecture on an important topic, contract of indemnity, which will useful for your examination. Let's start. The indemnity has been defined in section 124 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, according to which a contract by which one party promises to save the other from loss caused to him by the conduct of the promiser himself or by the conduct of any other person is called a contract of indemnity. Example: a contracts to indemnify B against the consequence of any proceeding which C may take against B in respect of a certain sum of 200 rupees. This is a contract of indemnity. Essential elements of contract of indemnity: number 1, parties; number 2, the contract is for indemnity; number 3, damages. Number 1, parties. Two parties are necessary for a contract of indemnity. Number 1, promiser; number 2, indemnity holder. Promiser: the person who promises to give compensation to the indemnity is called promiser. Indemnity holder: person to whom compensate is promised is called indemnity holder. Number 2, the contract is for indemnity. The contract is necessary for the purpose of giving indemnity. Indemnity contracts can be made in two ways. Number 1, express; number 2, implied. The contract which is made in writing or by speaking is called express contract. The contract which is not made in writing or by speaking is called implied contract. Number 3, damages. There are two types of damages. The indemnity holder must suffer damages: number 1, by the conduct of the promiser himself; number 2, by the conduct of any other person. Mangeram versus Gandamal. In this case, the seller of the land promised the buyer that if any defect was found in the seller's title, he would compensate the buyer. The court considered this to be a contract of indemnity. Limitations of liability for indemnity. Section 125. Acting as per the wishes of the promiser, the indemnity holder has the right to recover the following money. Number 1, all damages which he may be compelled to pay in any suit. Number 2, all costs which he may be compelled to pay in any such suit which has to be paid in bringing or defending a suit. Number 3, all sums which he may have paid under the terms of any compromise of any such suit. commencement of liability of contract of indemnity. In English law, there was a principle that compensation would be given to the indemnity holder only if there was actual loss. But now this rule has changed. Gajanan Moreshwar versus Moreshwar Madan. In this case, Justice Chagla held that if the indemnity holder doesn't have the right to get compensation before the loss, then such a contract will lose its value, because when he is forced to pay the money, he may not have the money, or he may not be able to pay. His entire wealth will be lost. I am sure you have understood this topic. Thanks.